Hey, what's up guys? My name is Frost and welcome to the video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the recent news that Bungie is going to be nerfing Luna's Howl Not Forgotten. Here in the background, you're going to be seeing some NF Sniper Missile Striker gameplay while I talk about, my opinions and thoughts on these changes and how the community really kind of feels about this type of stuff, really. But anyways, yeah. These two weapons are going to get nerfed. These are pinnacle weapons that are hyped up to be some of the best PvP weapons. Weapons that, people invest a lot of time and effort into getting. I know myself, I put some time into it, and, some players are not fortunate enough to even have any teammates to play with, so the grind is even harder for them. So this, in a sense, just seems to be kind of disrespectful to the average PvP player that likes to grind things in Crucible. Now, personally, I'm in a boat where I'm just like, man, nerfing these type of weapons, something in the competitive playlist, people that grind for it, it's not a good move because PvP players, for a lot of us, grinding comp is kind of like something to get us to play PvP more, a reason to play Destiny, because we don't really get PvP content. We're craving for PvP content. We haven't been getting maps, we haven't been getting new game modes and stuff like that, right? So you can kind of see, yo, come on, bro. Like we want this new content. Like you're nerfing the main kind of reason for a lot of players to continue playing Destiny is like you're kind of slowly killing our motivation to continue playing PvP. Not to mention with the rivalry tonic spam, a lot of players haven't really been too fond of the ability spammage, which takes me to my next point. Bungie seems to be going down the route where they're slowly buffing abilities and just dwindling down the primary gunplay, because NF does kill fast, right? But it's a kind of a good thing considering how supers are pretty dominant, and you want a weapon that does a lot of damage to shut down supers, to do some damage, right? To be able to handle team shots. Like in quick play, maps are pretty small. You're gonna run into multiple players. You want to have that ability to 1v2 players, sometimes 1v3, whatever it is, right? So yeah, man. We went through that route with Destiny 1 where they just kept nerfing weapons, and that's how we got to like Destiny 2 year 1 meta. And now we're slowly going back up to just ability spammage. They have been buffing grenades. It's kind of hard to judge right now because we have all the tonic spam, so I'll keep that a little bit open-minded. But anyways, takes me to my next point as well. It's like I said, it's just kind of like a disrespectful thing, man. I don't know. I have my own opinions when it comes to Lunas and Not Forgotten when it comes to skill gap, but that's not really the point I want to get into, because this nerf just highlights the main problems or other problems that are going on that they're not really paying attention to. In a sense, it's like they completely missed the whole point when they're doing this nerf. It's like, bro, the problem isn't really Luna's NF too much. It's more of the fact that like you don't give players too many other options that are as good to use in Crucible. So now on PC, I have a difficult time really kind of understanding what that means, but I do come from console, and I do remember I have watched some gameplay of my past gameplay when it comes to hand cannons and stuff like that. I still watch console players and stuff like that, so I'm like, yo, hand cannons on console have a lot of bloom. They have recoil. They don't feel good. On PC though, we have NF, but there's other hand cannons like Ace, right? It's a big example. Like Ace on PC is a completely different monster than it is on console, right? So there's other options on PC, and they're good, consistent, fun options to use. They're good alternatives. But on console, it's not really the same thing. Sure, there's other options to use, but they don't feel as good. They don't feel fun. They don't feel like good alternatives to use over something like NF. NF is one of those weapons that really shines with just, good recoil. The bloom doesn't feel like trash, and it just feels consistent. It feels like your shots are going where you're shooting, and it's fun, right? And there's certainly some skill gap to it as well. But anyways, that's like one of those things that they just kind of completely miss, bro. They kind of miss it, and this has been ongoing feedback since early Destiny 2, man. Since early Destiny 2, this has been going on forever, and I don't know why. I would have much rather than come out with like, hey, all right, we're gonna be nerfing NF and Lunas, but we're gonna be buffing hand cannons across all the board. Then maybe it would have been a different story. Maybe we would have reacted differently. Maybe there'd be like different conversations going on, but they didn't say that. And are they going to? We don't know, because they haven't given us any like sandbox previews or anything like that. So it could happen, but usually when it comes to PvP type of things, we assume the worst, right? But yeah, you know, there's other things like Ace of Spades, Pulse Rifles can easily now creep up and pass NF Lunas in terms of like meta. And honestly, personally, I would not be a fan of that because, you know, I don't really enjoy quick play having nothing but Not Forgotten and Luna spammers. But at the same time, like, I think I would much rather prefer playing against stuff like that rather than Pulse Rifle players, Ace of Spade players hugging the very edges of the map, just pre-aiming across, you know, not really getting into gunfights with you. But, you know, that's a whole different conversation right there. Anyways, it's a lot of, you know, a lot to take in. Do I think NF and Lunas are still going to be good? Honestly, first glance, just thinking into it, I think it's going to be good. It's going to require a lot of skill gap, and you know, a player that's able to land his 2 headshots pretty consistently well is going to manage to take advantage of this weapon pretty effectively. Now, I have been someone that has a lot of experience with the 150 RPM hand cannons. Back in the year 1 meta, I used Dire Promise a lot, and then they got buffed to be like 3 taps, and I still use Dire Promise a lot. I ended up using Waking Vigil, used Sunshot, I'm using Thorn now recently, and I think 150s are kind of like low-key, they're underrated. You know, they're starting to shine a little bit more now that spare rations that came into the play. You know, you can get your random rolls, you can get rapid hit, kill clip, things of that nature. So, you know, people are starting to pay more attention to it. 150s definitely are not like 140s. Well, maybe on PC. I gotta remember, you know, there's 2 different platforms. On console, 150s are probably still trash, and they, you know, I wouldn't say you're wrong. But yeah, you get where I'm trying to go with, right? Anyways, that's besides the point. They should have just buffed hand cannons across the board. You know, maybe look at other things like, hey, this made me realize something. If the whole reason people are grinding a comp playlist is just to get like the best meta weapon, then maybe you should look into comp and try to rework how the playlists work, because honestly, it's kind of one of those playlists that is kind of toxic, but like not in like the way where like it's like, oh, that's okay, every playlist is toxic, or everything has to be toxic in a competitive level to some extent, but like in a way where like people don't want to play comp, but they're just playing it for, you know, NF because they feel like they need to. You know, you heard this conversation, you heard players say they feel like they can't compete without NF or Lunas. They feel like they can't do anything without those weapons, and I felt like that for a little time, because I had Lunas and I didn't want to get NF. I didn't really care for it, but then I ran into players with all that range, and I was like, well, you know, early players that got it on PC, and I was like, yo, what the? That thing has so much range, and it just outmaps me. So I was like, okay, there's definitely like, you know, a little bit of a difference advantage there. But yeah, you know, people should be playing comp playlists for fun, you know, and just for the experience to grind, not just solely for the weapon that dominates the whole game that makes you feel like you need to get in there to grind it. I don't know if that really makes sense, but I tried my best. Anyways, there's just a couple thoughts from me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you want to share anything in the comment sections, go for it. I will be reading, and if I see something that, you know, I kind of strongly feel strong about, I will definitely respond to you. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.